Welcome back. Trial Tuesday once again. Spring almost here, which means people are grabbing their bikes or mopeds and hitting the roads this beautiful time of year. But what do residents need to know before they take off? There are some South Carolina laws that not a lot of people may be aware of. Here to fill us in is attorney and a man who always puts the pedal to the metal when it comes to the law, Attorney David Aylor. Counselor, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate that. What's one of the biggest issues right now when it comes to bicycle and moped safety out there?
Well, obviously, a lot of times people are unfamiliar with what the laws are as to where they should be in the traffic. And unless there's a bike path, meaning when I say bike, meaning pedal bicycle or cycle, if you will, they're going to be actually in the road and have to follow the same safety laws as if it was a motor vehicle itself.
That's the thing. They are considered cars when they are on the road and not in a bike lane.
Correct. And that includes lights, reflectors, that sort of thing, turn signals. And often, people complain that they don't make those signals, but they can be pulled over just like any other motorist when they don't follow the law.
Yeah, one I see a lot is that they'll go in the road and then stop at that stoplight, but then go right through that red light because they're a bike and they're not a car, so they feel like they can go through that light.
Well, actually they can. Motorcycles, bicycles, or mopeds, if they come to a red light and they stop, make complete stop, just like you or I would at a stop sign, and they wait 120 seconds. With due caution, they are able to proceed through the red light simply because the weight's not going to trigger the light like it would in your car or my car.
Okay, so 120 seconds. I did not know that.
You might want to count them next time.
I was going to say, you got to check your watch for that one. Another big issue when it comes to mopeds and moped safety, obviously, is a helmet law. You don't have to wear a helmet in the state when you're on one of those mopeds.
Correct, and that's similar to motorcycles. In the state of South Carolina, you don't have to wear helmets on motorcycles, so then it falls in the same place. Now, you are seeing a lot more helmets just for personal safety, but there is no law that they have to wear a helmet on a cycle, a moped, or a motorcycle.
Do you think that law is ever going to change? I know a lot of other states that were popular with the motorcycle crew, the mopeds crews, finally did institute that law, but South Carolina seems to be a holdout. Do you think it's ever going to change?
Well, there's certain things in our state that we hold pretty strongly, and one of them is, the motorcyclist rights and that sort of thing. So I don't think it comes so much from the moped drivers as it does the motorcycles. They've looked at it in the legislature a few times. It's never been able to pass. I don't know that it will. It may not be too popular for the politicians if they try to change that.
Right. Well, let's also talk about that moped issue, and that's DUI. Those who've been convicted of DUI or lost their license because of a suspected DUI getting on these mopeds because it's a faster mode of transportation and you don't have to have a license to operate one.
Correct. In the state of South Carolina, you do not have to, if your license is suspended or you don't have a license, you can have the moped along with your state identification. However, again, you're under the same laws, driving under the influence, those type of things would still follow. But ultimately, the way it's viewed is a means of transportation for those that need to go to work, go to see their families, that sort of thing, when you're not allowed to drive.
Again, I know that they were trying to kind of close that loophole in the state legislature. Do you see any action being taken on that front right now?
It's pretty interesting. It's one of the several issues that they may take up this year, but, depending on where it gets lost in the mix. You do have to have a license for a motorcycle, and often people don't realize that, but you have to start with the permit and get that permanent license. But when it comes to the moped, it hadn't gone that far as of yet.
Let's say you're in, downtown, definitely close quarters on one of those bicycles, and you have an accident. You hit a car hits you, something bad happens. What's your legal recourse? What do you need to do?
Well, the first thing you would want to do is contact the police. That is a traffic accident. You, as a cyclist, are in the traffic as well as obviously the motor vehicle. So oftentimes people say, oh, I feel okay, and they maybe leave the scene, that sort of thing. They don't know whose car it was, and then later they have some sort of injury. That's a situation where you definitely want to call the police, no different than if it was a fender bender.
And then would it become kind of like a car versus car accident where insurance would come in or charges going to be followed? How does
Absolutely. If the driver is found at fault, and when I say the driver, I mean of the motor vehicle, if they're the one that, basically is contributing to the collision as they put it on the sheet, ultimately their insurance would come into play.
All right. Attorney David Aylor, thank you so much for your time. Fascinating tips as always.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you being here. Stay with us. We're back in a moment after this.